Ladies and gentlemen, live from Studio A at Argentum Studios in North Hollywood, California, you're watching Talk with PhillyG!
Yeah, what's up, family? What's up, Talk with PhillyG family? Guess what? This is Talk with PhillyG, and it's me, PhillyG. And today we have a very special guest. Scott Rickett is here.
PhillyG.
Hey, what's up, man?
Thanks for having me.
Thank you for coming into the house.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, dude, we're super stoked to have you here.
Yes.
Oh, look at that. You could turn the mic. Is that weird?
No, it's all good.
Is that good? All right, yeah, look at that.
As long as you guys can hear me.
Yeah, but it's the angle of the dangle, bro.
Yeah, this is a nice mic.
Can we say that? Is the FCC listening to us today? I dressed appropriately to. This is rock and roll hour.
Now this is podcast, right? So we can say whatever we want. We don't have to
Generally,
watch our P's&Q's.
we don't have to. Generally, we try not to, curse too much.
I'm pretty PC, so.
Well, because your kid might be watching it.
That's
too.
true.
Right? Luku and Ethan and the whole gang. Hopefully, everyone on the hockey team is watching. So we know each other because the common denominator that brings us together is
Hockey. Kings.
Hockey, ice hockey, LA Junior Kings.
And our kids, yeah.
Yeah. So Ethan and my boy Luku played together last season.
What a phenomenal team. It was still, great. For me, out of all the years I've been involved with the Kings, and Ethan's been doing it since he was 3.5.
Yeah.
That was, I think, our best season ever. Best team ever.
Yeah.
Best parents. And everyone I still, stay in touch with. So it's been really fun.
Yeah, no doubt. So we will give a shout out to the Pee Wee AA Sam Graham team.
Yes.
Right?
And the whole Junior Kings program. They've been just stellar.
Wow. Very politically correct. Junior Kings, what's up? So that's in El Segundo. Check it out if you have a kid. We recommend that you play there. I want to say thank you for coming, right? It's an honor to have you here. We've known each other for a while now.
Yep.
And I know the reason that Scott's here today is because we're going to learn about him, right? We want to learn. We don't know. I mean, they don't know who you are.
Yep.
So let's find out who you are. Let's see your talents. Perhaps you'll play a little bit for us. And then we want to learn from your experience, right? The grind. That's what we talk about is the grind. You guys are working so hard trying to make your dreams come true. I mean, Scott, you've been grinding it out for
it's
decades,
nonstop. Yeah,
right?
it's nonstop.
It's nonstop. So we'll talk about that.
Yeah.
But let's start at the beginning. What do you say?
Perfect.
What do you say, Ed?
Perfect.
Sure.
Yeah, let's go to the beginning. All
I
right.
like it.
So where are you from? Where are you,
Grew up in New England as a kid.
Yeah.
In the cold New Hampshire winters, I spent most of my time inside playing my guitar and honing my craft from a time and an era of music that I thought was really based around the music and not around being a rock star.
What decade are we talking?
I learned to play guitar basically in the late 70s. So picking up all that 70s great music, early 70s, late 60s, those great guitar gods that came in. And then as the late 70s progressed, more of the Van Halen and stuff that kind of took over. And I started playing trumpet actually. So trumpet was the first instrument I learned the language of music on and learned to read music. And I had my dad's trumpet actually in grade school. And so I was probably about what Ethan and Luca's age is now. And I loved it so much that I left it in my locker overnight and someone broke into the school and stole my trumpet.
Oh, no.
And my dad's trumpet actually at the time. So I got, and the insurance company paid me $400 for his trumpet. For the pain and suffering and all the other stuff. Back then.
It's like $1 million.
That was a lot. It was a great trumpet. My dad had it forever, whatever. But I ran to the music store and bought my first guitar, a Fender Jazzmaster.
Oh, nice.
And so that I still have it too. It was a 63
awesome.
Fender Jazzmaster. I wanted a Strat. I couldn't afford a Strat, but that $400 got me that Fender Jazzmaster. I still got it. It was a beautiful guitar, and I started playing guitar. And that
was it a combo? Was it guitar and the amp?
No, it's just that guitar.
Yeah.
I lived in a little town called Pelham, New Hampshire, and shout out to everyone in Pelham. And we had one city near us, Lowell, Mass, and then one city in New Hampshire, Nashua. In New Hampshire, there was no sales tax. And so I went to Nashua, the only music store in the area that had, and found that guitar, and I played it every chance I could get over there and play it, and finally went and bought it when I got that money. So
that's awesome.
Yeah.
So you're self-taught. You had formal teaching as well?
Not really. I mean, I learned basically from people around me. There was other kids that played. I learned by my D string and my G string open together, made an open G chord, and I could borrow those and I figured out half the Black Sabbath songs and Smoke on the Water and a bunch of other stuff, and I was jamming in the neighborhood band, so I didn't know what a chord was. I didn't know any of it, but you figure it out.
3 chords and the truth.
Yeah.
I mean, that's how most everybody starts, right? You just pick it up and you're like, wow, this is amazing. I mean, a lot of people on piano, some on guitar, right?
I wish I would have done more in piano younger. I didn't start playing piano until I was much older, and piano's definitely the easiest instrument to learn the language of music, because music's a language. It's no different than you and I learning Japanese or learning French. You got to understand the language,
or math,
or sophisticated math, exactly. And to understand the language, a lot of people falter on trying to get the instrument. And for guitar, it's fingering, being able to actually push down those notes and get those chords clean. For a saxophone or a trumpet, it's a reed or the lip stuff. So a piano, the cat can walk across it and make perfect whole tones. Sure. And so to learn the language, it's really the easiest instrument to start from, and it's the basics. And you can be a vampire and still never freaking completely master it.
Sure. The thing I like most about piano is like the different progressions, right? I mean, you could go like the 1-4-6 or whatever, and you got the 12-bar blues and all this kind of stuff. And yeah, like right away you're off and going. Mm-hmm. But in guitar, you can as well, right? So you got chords, you got power, right? First thing, you're going power chords, right?
Pretty much open chords. I think the first thing everyone learns is their open set of chords.
Yeah.
Some of that strumming stuff, especially if you learn acoustic first. That's the best way, I think, get your finger strength and learn acoustic. But back in the day we didn't have YouTube. Now today kids are so lucky. They can learn so much stuff. And I mean, I go to it and go, hey, how do you play that? What was the chord progression on that? What was, because there's certain stuff that sometimes you just don't hear properly, or the overtones mask it. You're not exactly sure what they're playing. So.
Yeah. How much time do you feel like someone needs to spend on just learning how to strum a guitar?
I mean, it's all rhythmic patterns are really important. I find that people that have other things that they do, it's really interesting if you've ever worked with a drummer who plays another instrument. They have different rhythmic patterns to it. With someone that like Eddie Van Halen that set guitar apart was a lot of his picking techniques and a lot of his rhythmic patterns and incorporating that right hand technique. So I believe it's just as important as the time you spend on your fingering and your left hand. I used to sit there as a kid in front of the TV with my electric guitar just double picking, because the guitar wasn't plugged in and it wasn't bothering everyone else in the room, so I could just kind of go just to get that cadence and consistency, and then doing it in different strings, and because that dexterity just comes over time and practice, and like anything else, you got to do it over and over and over and over.
Right. But so you practiced that while learning songs, right?
Yeah.
So learning songs taught you different strumming patterns, fingering techniques. I mean, you kind of have to. It's a big dive.
Yeah, you learn.
It's a progression as well.
You learn it all. Or you think, as you progress, you get more detailed in your skills.
Yeah.
Stuff that I learned as a kid that I go back to now, I'm like, wow, I was playing that completely wrong. I missed this whole part, and there's a lot of nuances and things that are going on. And as you get better at the instrument, as your ear gets more developed, I think you really can then really hone into stuff. But today you have the ability, like I said, to turn it on YouTube and have somebody break it down piece by piece for you. I had a Radio Shack mono cassette player, and we used to have WAAF that played in Boston. And so I would have that on the radio, and I'd take that mono player and I'd record it on a tape, and then I'd just play it back over and over and over to learn the songs, whatever was playing on the radio at that time. So that was my kind of way to learn songs. But then the tape would, like, if it was a 90-minute tape, it would play at a different speed than a 60-minute tape. Right. So the tunings would be different. And so it was kind of janky. But but it made you really work on your ear.
So when you're playing with those tapes, the one thing, I'm like an audiophile, right? I wanted to be an engineer when I was young. Like, I thought that board was like the spaceship. It was like the USS Enterprise, right? Mm-hmm. Wow. Like, if you could be in control of that thing, like, you're God. And in fact, you control everyone's destiny.
You do, right? When you're the mixer, yeah.
But if you're looking at a tape, you got 4 tracks on there, right? 2 go this way, 2 go the other way. So you could use all 4 if you wanted. I mean, if you really like kind of broke it down.
Well, it depends on what kind of tape you're using. Like that, back in that day, I was using a cassette player. Right. So you only could play, a mono cassette player. It didn't even record stereo. So it was only playing something back. Mono had 1 speaker in the thing.
Okay.
So that was it. But nowadays, with stuff, I have an old 16-track tape machine. I've got a 24-track tape machine.
Yeah.
But everything goes to digital now. It's so much easier, so much quicker. so much more efficient.
Yeah.
Certain sounds, though, I like on tape. I did drums recently for a project, and we recorded it all on tape, and then bumped it into Pro Tools.
Yeah.
I've done vocals that way. Had vocalists come in and record the vocals onto tape. You can hit it harder in the studio. You can get a warmer sound from it. Digital distortion is very harsh and very unforgiving. Analog distortion is kind of fun to play with, and you can really get a lot of ambience from it.
Right. So are you able to play something for us? Do you have like...
We can jam, we can talk. Are you going to sing for me?
Well, I don't know. So, quite honestly, truth be told, Scott and I were kind of going back and forth. I'm sitting at the dog park. It's like I'm freezing late at night. And we're like, let's try to do songs or whatever. But we never quite worked that out because...
No, but I don't learn a lot of cover songs. I'll learn stuff for the project I'm working on.
Yeah.
And, I'm doing so many different projects. My background, I was a kid. I played music. I grew up in New England. I went to school in Florida. I joined a rock band and traveled, came out here to California, and then got into that whole kind of glam scene in Hollywood.
Yeah.
And played with a number of different bands in Hollywood, and then became a studio session player. And then I got to work with some really amazing people. And one of them was David Ezrin. David Ezrin is the son of Bob Ezrin. Bob Ezrin's probably, I think, the greatest producer in the history of music. And being able to get in the studio with Bob and work on some of the projects with him and work the project with David, it took me to a whole nother level as a musician.
Yeah.
And I kind of stepped into a new era and a new place. And, the stories, that's one thing when you get around people of greatness, they have the best stories ever.
Oh,
because
for sure.
they've been around this environment and been around these people. And the stories of certain artists like John Lennon. And Bob spent a lot of time with John Lennon, was very good friends with him and did a lot of work on that comeback album. He would talk about John Lennon not listening to radio and not listening to other people's music and not learning when people ask him about, hey, what do you think of this band? He didn't listen to it. Why? Because he wanted to be able to write pure in his head and not have influences of other music and stuff. So I kind of fall into this, like I obsess when I'm producing something. I kind of obsess on whatever that genre is. So one of my partners since 2000 is Ricky Fonte. Ricky's, I think, the greatest soul singer alive. Rolling Stone magazine calls him the greatest soul voice alive today. And we did a great record together called Soul Surfing originally, which was just acoustic guitar and his amazing soul voice. And there's awesome videos out and stuff of us performing some of that. But then we did took a bunch of those demos that we did for Elektra and ended up just releasing them, and then did a record called Rewind on Virgin. And then unfortunately, the soul world in America there's not a lot of place for it, not radio for it. And the Rewind album was that. It was a throwback to an old school soul sound that
Well, let me ask you this. Can you play a little something from there, from one of your Ricky tunes?
I can, but it's tough without someone singing it. But we could jam it a little bit. But yeah, that's, for me, I dive into stuff. I'm doing a country record with a kid by the name of Jim Craig right now.
Yeah.
So I've been listening to like Waylon Jennings and all this outlaw country. So you just get into different weird stuff. And then, I did last year a record with Elijah Rock, which was basically big band in Vegas style. So we were engulfed in that. So you kind of get into different projects.
I think it's wonderful that you have like such a breadth of work, and you could go from, blues to soul to, you could go pop, you could go metal. There's
rock's my favorite. that's where I come from.
Yeah,
that's the background.
No, I get it.
I can't do much rock on the acoustic, but that's kind of what I fall back on.
Yeah.
So one of the other things I've done for
and just to be quite honest with you, when you were like throwing out bands and you're saying this genre for me to try to sing a song to, we're talking like Warrant and stuff like that. And dude,
I wouldn't.
PhillyG is not singing that, man.
I think I threw out a 70s song for you.
I saw that, but I was just like,
you were throwing Beatles songs at me, so I don't know. But for me, I grew up in all different types of rock stuff. And like I said, the first thing I learned was those two notes there. If I played those, that made like an open G chord, so I go. Yeah! So I didn't even know what a chord was or anything, but all of a sudden I was playing Smoke on the Water. And everyone in the neighborhood's like, dude, you gotta play guitar in our band. I'm like, done.
Right?
So, and then it was like the same with, what was like, I think the Iron Man. All those songs, I learned them just with those two notes, basically, of that
Yeah,
whole rock era. You know? But then you progress and you learn to do, you know, bar chords. And then I do, with Ricky, we did some neat stuff because I'm a rocker.
Yeah.
So I brought this kind of rock, beachy side of it. So I'm a surfer. I live on Huntington Beach. And then Ricky's a soul brother from Baltimore who's straight, you know, Sam Cooke, Al Green. I mean, his voice is cut from that era.
Yeah.
And so we kind of created this thing we called Soul Surfing and started Soul Surfer Records.
Yeah.
Put out the record Soul Surfer, which was all about these kind of bluesy, rocky kind of acoustic tunes that I played, and then he sang to it. Some of it's like, this rock is... that kind of stuff that's just, you know, driving, ripping what I play rock guitar. And so a lot of the stuff I've done for years now, I've been a staff composer for Fox Sports. So if you ever watch Sunday football on Fox, those segments right when it's going to commercial or when they're putting up stats or some of that stuff, and you hear some of the rocking little background music, most of the time you're hearing stuff that I've put through. For the last 20 years, I've contributed to the Fox Sports catalog. So I had 2,200 broadcasts last year on Fox.
That's amazing.
Yeah, all over the world. So from soccer and Italy and other stuff. And a lot of it's just what I call vignettes. They're my little rock vignettes that I do in my own studio. I play all the instruments.
2,200 unique
different
sound
broadcasts.
bits or musical bits.
Yeah.
What do they sound like? Can you play? I just want to know.
Right, just like it's like more of a rock kind of. And a lot of them are very quick. They're like 10 second, 20 seconds. So I just do like little riff stuff like that, but it's rocking. You know, I do it with real riff. You know, like Metallica type stuff, really heavy drums.
Yeah.
That type of stuff. So, but you know, I enjoy good, just bluesy rock too.
Yeah.
And any of that type of stuff that you can do. And then we kind of get a little jazzy in Ricky, like. But not. I don't go too jazzy. I'm not consider myself a jazz guitar player, so I kind of do like fake jazz, I guess.
Dude,
but,
I mean, so you're generally writing on guitar when you did the Fox spots. You're not writing on keyboard.
No, but I'm really driven by bass, by beats. Sorry, beats, drums. So most of the time, I either find drum loops, create a drum loop. I've got a little electronic drum set in my house I play, or I have great friends who play drums. Mike Hansen was at my place during the NAMM show. He stayed with me for like 2 weeks. I had him in the studio almost every night. I'm like, just lay drums down for me, put beats down, you know. And so when you have someone that plays at that level, they play stuff that's just beyond what I can do. I can keep a beat, but that's what inspires me, and that's what I write. A lot of my rhythmic patterns are behind the beats itself. So
well, and it seems like I mean, if you're writing for Fox Sports, a lot of it's going to be the upbeat kind of, you know, let's go, going out into commercial or whatever, coming back in. You got to keep the energy up. So
So what they have for each segment, they have to do broadcast 5 times. So broadcast is usually your theme. So like Monday Night Football, that theme is whoever wrote that's getting paid every Monday night because it's broadcast 5 times in every Monday Night Football thing. So the rest of it becomes what's called Fox Tracks. So Fox Tracks, they have a library, and the producers for each of the segments then can pick tracks that are already officially licensed in the Fox Tracks library. I give them my music. I give it to them for free. I get paid by ASCAP, by however many households it's actually broadcast into. So I've built up over the last 20 years relationships with the different producers and segment engineers and stuff like that, because they're in a truck in Dallas somewhere on Thanksgiving playing the biggest game of the year. That Thanksgiving Dallas Cowboy game, it's like the largest amount of people other than like the Super Bowl watch that in the world. So if you can get broadcast on that, that's you're rocking. So
they did. I mean, it's a Nielsen average of households, right?
Yeah.
So they take that average and then you get paid.
But they pick, and I have no control over it. So I'll watch football with all my friends, and it'll come to commercial, and everyone's getting up to go get a drink or chips or whatever, and I'll start yelling, going, yeah! like what did we miss? What did we miss? I go, there's my music.
But you don't. So you're talking about American football, right?
Yeah.
If you're if the broadcast is baseball or soccer or something else, the audiences vary based on the sports that we're talking about.
Yeah. So Fox Sports goes all over the world, and so I license stuff. My Europe stuff is different. We actually license that. So Fox licensed that for me as my partner, and then I get a little better cut because the royalties here aren't much. And as a songwriter anymore, streaming's killed it for songwriting.
Oh, okay. You're getting into a space where this is where conversations get to put the guitar down. Let's talk about music and the industry, right? I mean, this is where. So look, our audience here is they're working professionals, right?
Yeah.
Everyone's we talk about the grind and everyone's just doing what they can to get by. And now we're going to talk about the music industry. And I mean, traditionally, you can speak to this because you are knowledgeable, maybe not about Motown days, but the music companies have always taken advantage of the artists.
In some ways, but they also have brought a lot to the table.
Get closer to the mic.
Yeah, I think that today there's a different real phenomena. The playing field is level because of the internet. You don't, and you know this from your son, and I know this from my son. He doesn't care if you're signed to a major label, if you're on MCA or Warner Brothers. He doesn't care. He cares if the song hits him in a certain way, and it can be some kid who's doing it out of his garage in Atlanta, like the song that became the biggest song of the year with Old Town Road this year,
sure.
or it can be the biggest produced hit out of the record plant here in Hollywood. They don't really care. So it's a new level playing field, which is really exciting, but it's much more difficult now. There's more music being made than ever in the history of the world. More music being accessible than ever in the history of the world. More people have access because of their phone and stuff to it. But there's less money for songwriting than ever before. And it's because of the streaming. Streaming's really destroyed the income value and basis for artists to be able to get music. And I think there's been a really weird phenomena that was generational that we saw. I was around when the whole Napster thing hit. And I was part of the industry, and I saw the file sharing. What it did to a generation of kids is they didn't feel they had to pay for music. And it wasn't that music didn't have value. They all valued it. It was part of their life. They lived with it. But they were all of a sudden so easily had access to share it and get it free that they didn't feel they had to pay for it. I grew up, every Tuesday used to be New Music Day, and we would take a bus and go all the way over to Lowell, Massachusetts to go to the record store on Tuesday just to be able to go listen to the new records and maybe buy one if we had enough money to scrape together to buy one between me and my neighbor Nate. So, nowadays this generation of kids got music for free for so long that they didn't feel they had to pay for it. They didn't feel it had value to it. And so it really changed the dynamic, really difficult for artists. And then it came back, and then Apple's created a way that you could buy music legally through the internet with iTunes, which was brilliant. They made a ton of money on it. They made an iPod, so there was a way for people to actually download music and have it and store it and enjoy it. Then they did away with that. And no one's going to download music and put it on their laptop. No one's going to put it on their desktop, and no one's going to take up space on their phone to store music. So they erased the way for people to actually buy, enjoy, and hold it. No one's buying CDs. Vinyl's made a little bit of a resurgence, but it's more collectors and people of that side. So sure. It made it really difficult. I mean, Ricky and I would sell downloads on Apple, 99-cent download. After all expenses and everything else, you get about 69 cents as an artist. You sell 10,000 downloads, you get $7,000. You're like, okay, we're getting paid for that, We got a check from Spotify for 10,000 streams for one of our songs. We got 7.9 cents. And we're supposed to split that between us and all the production costs and everything else. So, unless you're doing millions and millions and millions and millions of streams, you're not seeing any money come back from the streaming.
So what's the strategy then?
I think the only place that artists are making real money in the industry right now is touring. It's gone back to the old school way. People will not pay for their music on their device, but they'll pay an exuberant amount of money for the experience to go see it live again.
Sure.
So the live show is where it's gone back to. It's where it's come full circle to the performers and people who can get out there and play it. People will pay for that. Merchandise, people are giving away from all the way back in the day of, some of Prince's last times. He gave away his album for people who came to a show because he's like, I just want to sell tickets, sell merchandise, and I'll give you my music, You're all going to download it, steal it anyway.
Right. So you just had to, so you've kind of embraced what you can't change.
Yeah, I saw years ago, I think when I originally started Soul Surfer Records, Ricky and I made a conscious, decision to focus and put time into television and music and movie and music, because I saw all of a sudden we went from 3 networks to 13 networks to 30 networks to 300 networks to now thousands of networks, and all of them needed content. They all needed music. And so there wasn't a lot of people in the professional industry that would give their music. It was kind of taboo if you put your music into a movie or a commercial or something like that. Who wants to sell their music to it? And all of a sudden, when the artists weren't making millions of dollars selling their music, then they started doing it. Yeah. But there was a nice window in there before that you, as an up and coming artist, could get your music and your performances into stuff. And Ricky and I did a lot of stuff. We did the original soundtrack for Shark Tank with Mark Burnett, which we did the old Barry Gordy song, Money, That's What I Want. And that only ran for the first, I think, season or two. Then Burnett wouldn't pay the royalties on it anymore. But we did Yours, Mine, and Ours with Dennis Quaid and Rene Russo. And Ricky's actually the singer there at that pivotal love scene at the beginning of the movie where they meet and they're dancing.
Right.
And we did that old Major Harris song, Love, Love, Let Me Wait, which is just, what a classic track. I'm doing actually a record this summer with Ricky right now of all the covers that we've done over the years. So like that Major Harris song, the Right Down the Line with Jerry Rafferty. We did a thing for Best Friend with a version of Queen's song, Best Friend. We've done some Sam Cooke songs with You'll Send Me. And so we got a whole record of just covers that Ricky did that's been done for movies and other stuff.
Well, we'll definitely look out for that. So if people want to go to Spot, where would they see your...
everything's available online. So you can go type Ricky Fonte, Scott Rickett, where all the different, services out there have the product available, and you can check it out online. The Soul Surfer Records site is down. It's being redone right now, but that will be back up, and it's more promotional and marketing.
Sure.
My goal today more is I enjoy making music. I enjoy sharing it. I do other projects to make a living.
What's the other project that you do?
I'm a creative person, so I like to make stuff.
Yep.
So I've always made different things. So
yep.
I've been working on a new project for the last couple of years, and my goal is to create a new alternative to alcohol. So I make alcohol-free wine and alcohol-free champagne.
Yes.
And we use the most advanced technology in the world. We remove all the complex carbohydrates, all the sugars, and all the crap that you don't want, and keep all the resveratrol and all the goodness of the wine. And then I have one brand that we infuse it with nano emulsion CBD.
Okay.
And CBD is from hemp, so it could be used anywhere in the world. Since the hemp bill was passed in 2017, it makes it that you can use the hemp seed oil in different products. And a lot of people are finding really great medical benefits from CBD, and we're creating a new way.
You brought a bottle, didn't you?
I do. I have one here for you.
Let's just check it out.
You can enjoy it. It's called
Wow, look at that label.
Yeah, it's called Bella Petite. This is a sparkling sangria. Here, and you'll have to chill it, take it home for the wife, and you guys enjoy it. It's one of the first of its kind.
Bella Petite.
Go to bellapetitebeverages.com.
Full of CBD oil.
Yeah, CBD and
is it
and
full of oil?
It's not oil. Actually, it is oil, but we use usually a really unique technology.
That's awesome.
Because oil and water don't mix.
Thank you, Scott.
You're
right?
welcome.
They separate.
They separate. So you've got to kind of fool Mother Nature a little bit. So we use what's called nanotechnology, and we pulverize the actual molecules into nanoparticles.
Yeah.
And we encapsulate them with a surfactant and then put them into a solution so that they can stay in solution and absorb in your body for a quicker onset and a better experience.
So there's a whole conversation about like CBD products, right? In fact, there was my daughter's in gymnastics, right? Mm-hmm. And her gymnastics coach is like, rub the CBD oil all over. It's like, you'll do 1,000 push-ups and you'll be like, ah. And I'm like, I don't know, man. So I haven't gone into that world yet, but this is part of it, right? So not only are you consuming a drink, but it's healthy for your insides. Yeah. Is that right?
And CBD from hemp has no psychoactiveness to it. There's no
Bummer.
THC.
Oh,
There's nothing that's gonna out it. But we have a cannabinoid system in our body. And so the CBD actually attracts and works with our cannabinoid system. A lot of people find better sleep from it. They find really better anxiety. It does a lot. The biggest thing that we find with CBD is it does a lot with inflammation. Yeah. Inflammation is one of the biggest causes of pain and as we know, cancer and other things. So it's been a real helpful alternative for people that are dealing with possibly prescription drug issues or other things out there that you don't want to get into if you don't have to.
I will tell you what. I have a condition, and it's serious, and most musicians have the same condition. It's called tinnitus. And I'll tell you, do you have it?
I hear the ringing.
Oh, dude. So I was doing a little
I
bit
had
of
some
research.
loud Marshalls on stages for many
Dude,
years.
right? None louder than Lemmy, however.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, dude, I mean, like it's just ringing. And so I was doing some research how to like, do you cure tinnitus, whatever. And they're like, well, this is what the Google search does for you. If you have tinnitus and it's really quiet and the ringing won't stop, turn on a fan. Get some background noise to make it go away.
I use a sound generator.
It doesn't go away.
I use a sound generator. Exactly.
So you know what they said? They said anti-anxiety medicines actually help with tinnitus. You will not, but you were saying maybe CBD products might help as well.
Yeah,
have you noticed anything?
I find for me it helps me for relaxing. I run on a pretty high level. A little hyper, if you haven't noticed. I got a lot of energy.
Right.
So I go at a pretty high pace. So for me, it takes that edge off a little bit. A lot of times my thoughts are running so fast. I get so many things going on that helps me kind of relax, departmentize a little bit, kind of chill down. I sleep better with it.
Do they have like a tincture? Is it called tincture where you just kind of...
Tincture, a lot of people don't realize that when you do tinctures and other things with CBD, our liver filters out about 80% of it.
Okay.
If it's oil-based, and if it's in an oil form, because a lot of it's put into a coconut oil or a glycerin or some other type of oil base, then it has to run through our liver, it has to run through that whole process. Then it's a fatty format, much more difficult for our system to deal with it. In our format, we actually turn it into those nanoparticles. It's in a liquid format, and it runs into your system. It's quicker onset, quicker out.
I like it. Did you bring another bottle, or was it just this one bottle?
No, I just brought that one bottle.
Okay, so let's show it again. Let's show it again because we're coming up towards the end of our show. Let's show everybody.
Yes.
Tell us again what it's called.
Bella Petite Beverages.
Tell them.
Bella Petite Beverages.
And where can they find it?
Right now, online, we have a wine store. It's available at some CBD shops around, some online stores. We're just starting to get into distribution. It is considered hemp right now. We can't call it CBD because the federal government has not allowed CBD to be consumed by humans or pets right now, as far as the FDA calls it. So it is not called CBD. It is called hemp sangria. So there will be from Mothers and other Whole Foods places that will be carrying it coming this summer. But we're jumping through a lot of the...
If I drank that whole bottle, could I drive home?
Yeah.
So
it does no psychoactive to it. You're going to be relaxed. You'll probably feel a little like the shoulders will come down a little bit. You'll sleep like a big baby.
Oh boy!
But it's
watch out tonight, honey. I'm going to sleep.
The best part is
quickly.
I take out all the calories. A 12-ounce glass of this is only 35 calories.
That's awesome.
Because there's no complex carbohydrates.
Right? You gotta shake it.
Yeah, it's like a kombucha. It has a little bit of natural. We had cinnamons and all the berries and all the different stuff from the actual sangria. Since it's sparkling, we don't want you to shake it, but we say, shake carefully. And
We're gonna have a big.
Gives it that way. It's just nicely blended together and go. So
that's awesome. I think we've learned a lot today. I think we've said a lot, and we've learned. What's this here?
That's our flyers.
So there's flyers. And like you said, there's a discount code on here.
There is.
If you go to the website, which is Bella Petite Beverages, Paula, you should read this in your deep
we need
voice.
We need that announcer's voice on it, huh?
Bella Petite Beverages, BellaPetiteBeverages.com. If you type in Bella 2020, as it says right there, you'll get some kind of a discount. You drink a whole bottle of this, you're going to be relaxing. You're going to sleep really well. You're going to be able to function better, right? Kind of slow you down a little bit. Mellow you out.
Be more creative.
Make
music,
great
relax.
songs.
And it's one of those things that you're not guilty. You're not picking up the calories from the alcohol.
Watch this. I'm relaxing right now. Thank you for sharing your Bella Petite wine.
Thank you.
Thank you for sharing your story. What do you have to say to everyone out here? There's a lot of people who are grinding it out, and you continue grinding. Do you have any good advice? Really just make nice with people, just stay focused. What would you say to the people out there who are just grinding and grinding?
Believe in yourself. Find what works for you. Find your niche. Following and trying to chase what's new and what's happening, you're behind the curve, because that was happening a year ago. If it wasn't happening 2 years ago before they've gotten it out, now maybe a little quicker. Do what you do. If someone would have told me, that, Billie Eilish brought me one of those songs in that style, I would have never guessed that she would have had the success she had. But she kept to what she did some awesome production, and created her own sound, her own feel that has now, been hugely rewarded. So don't follow the masses. Beat your own drum, believe in what you do, and do it because you love it. Don't do it to become famous or become rich, or find a job to pay the bills and have an alternative to eat, because you got to eat. And unfortunately today the world doesn't support arts like we did in the past. We don't have someone that is supporting our Beethovens and our Mozarts and giving them government funding just to make music and beautiful art for the world. So you've got to self-fund your art. And so figure out a way to self-fund your art. There's, right now, YouTube is amazing. There's people making money on YouTube, and I love it. And you can just go copy other people's music and make money on YouTube. Forget about put your own music out. Be creative, be resourceful, believe in yourself, and don't stop. Always be learning. Always be trying to grow and develop and network, man. Find people like this that want to help. Help
Scott Rickett, the sage, the oracle, if you will. BellaPetitBeverages.com. Check out wine.
Yeah,
the beverage.
The wine. It's an alcohol-free wine.
Check out the alcohol-free wine.
I'm trying to be the Beyond Meat of the alcohol industry. That's my goal. Yeah. I want to disrupt them and give people an alternative that they can have a delicious product that gives them a relaxing feeling without the calories, without the dehydration, without the hangover. And
RickyFontaine.com.
RickyFontaine.com. Somebody else took that.
Okay,
I think one of the record companies got
search,
that.
Yeah,
but SoulSurferRecords.com will be back up, and you can look up stuff on that. Just go online, check out YouTube, check out all the different music streaming services. Check out Ricky's Rewind record. Check out our old Soul Surfer record. Then we have one out we put out 2 years ago called Good Fortune. That's a little more of a rockin' record. So there's a bunch of stuff out there to check out of Ricky's. He's really an amazing voice.
Okay, so let me ask you this on our outro. Could you just can you play us out? Yes? We got time for that, Ed? Yeah. Ed says yes.
Yes.
Don't forget.
Since we were talking about grapes, how about
right? Bella Petite. CBD wine. Go there. Petite. Scott Rickett, everybody. This is Talk with Philly G. We thank you for coming. Thank you, family. Don't forget Argentum Studios. Here we are in Studio A. We thank Scott Rickett. Everybody, have a great day, and we will see you next time.
Nice.
Oh, dude.
To close off the night. I was ready for you to...